Hi, everyone. So today I'm going to do another love reading. So if there is a person in your life or there's a person on your mind, then this reading is for you. So let's see with the tarot first what kind of energies we get in our spread. So we have the Ace of Wands reversed, the Emperor reversed, the Three of Wands reversed, the Empress, the Four of Cups reversed, the Nine of Wands, the Ace of Cups, the Sun reversed, and the Magician. So I'm getting a sense that there's kind of no action happening in this. Is this straight? Should I straighten that out a bit? Is that better? So I'm getting the sense that there's really, no one's really taking any action towards this, or perhaps there was some conflict in this relationship. So it's just, it may be that you're just in an energy of a truce, perhaps. It seems with the Four of Cups falling right in the middle, that's why I'm thinking that, because it seems as though this relationship has failed to reach some kind of stability or reach a milestone that perhaps you both were hoping to reach. With the Nine of Wands showing up here, it's giving me this impression that you may be feeling as though you might be considering your independence in this situation. The nines are always a card of independence. You can see there's no one else in this card, and this person looks like maybe they've had enough of a situation, and it might be time to go and be on your own. So that's what I'm picking up right now from you and your energy. It just feels like it's like everything is like someone just like pulled the needle off the record, or someone just pulled the handbrake on the situation. Like it may have been going somewhere, but then it wasn't. Then everything just stopped, and you're looking at the situation saying, well, I feel like we should have been further than this by now. And that maybe when I look around, I don't see anyone. And maybe this is all in my head, that I'm thinking this is going somewhere when perhaps it's not going anywhere. Your person, on the other hand, I believe your person sees themselves as really manifesting something here. So it's interesting that the attitudes are so completely different on each side of the spread here. Your person feels as though they are creating something. They are making something happen in this situation. But it may be that they're not seeing it correctly, because you think that they are failing to manifest anything in the situation, and they see you as being the non-starter in the situation. So I think that your person may be looking at themselves a little bit too optimistically as far as what they bring to the situation, because we do have the Four of Cups in the reverse in the middle. So I think that you feel like you could be interested in putting more energy and a fresh start into this. And your person, I believe, with the Ace of Cups, feels the same way. You're mirroring each other in the sense that you both feel as though maybe there could be a new start to this, that maybe the first time around things really went sideways and the cups are all turned over. But I do think that regardless of you being in this position where you may have considered or are considering going off on your own and being independent, or realizing that you might be better off, I do still think that in your feelings, you both feel that there can be something else that can grow between the two of you, but it has to be based on a completely different foundation and has to start over from the very beginning with the basics and the foundations. Because I do think that there is this sense, because we have the sun coming in the reverse here, and I feel that again is giving me this feeling that someone, and I think it's you're not even 100% sure that this is the relationship for you. That you're thinking to yourself, yeah, I think I could start over. I feel like we could manifest something if we completely erase everything that we did and kind of go back to the drawing board and start over. But I do get the sense with the sun in reverse here that you're still not sure that that's even really what you want. Even if it were to work, you've already been questioning yourself, is this the person that I even really want in my life? And then with the Emperor in reverse here, I get the sense that you are both wanting to stay together because you both feel like it can work. I mean, the Emperor is a very strong card. Even when it's in the reverse, it's a very strong card with a lot of potential. However, because it's in the reverse, it makes me feel as though that is the reason you keep coming back together again, is because you feel like you don't want to miss out on something that could have been. But on the other hand, you're not so sure that even if it were to work out, that this is even the person you want. It looks as though the person with the Empress falling here, it looks like your person is certain that you are the person for them, but I'm not getting necessarily such a strong read off of you that you're 100% convinced that this person is for you. And it could be reversed. You can make it make sense for you, but that's how I'm reading this energy. So let me get some big picture oracles and see if we can get some more clues about you and your person and what's going on. So we have the ship and the birds. So I do get the sense that, again, there's this feeling that there's something new kind of wants to pop out of this. You both have these feelings that you know something new can happen. The ship is all about movement, but it looks as though the movement that you're moving towards is an anxious one. The birds card can be a very strong card of anxiety. And I think that's why I'm getting this pull again to tell you that it feels as though this entire situation just gives you enough anxiety that you think, okay, even if it does work, is it really what I want? And that's what's causing the anxiety. On the other hand, the birds can also represent communication. So it may be that with the ship and the birds that you're just moving towards a better communication with each other. So if you were to start over completely, that the second time around, that the foundation that you may need that you didn't have the first time around, maybe that you were not communicating well. And as I'm saying that, I'm not seeing any swords at all on this board here. So, right, there's no swords. So it may be that that was the problem, that there was not enough communication, which led to your downfall. So let's see what other kinds of messages we can get from the oracles. So we have girl with a snake and abundance. So again, I think that this is pointing to, especially the girl with a snake, that whatever went wrong the first time around, and because it looks like you both understand that there's a need to start over, to start clean, to start completely with a blank slate. But the girl with the snake is a very clear sign that some boundaries need to be set in the relationship, regardless of what that means to you or your person. They just have to be communicated clearly what your boundaries are, so that a person or your person or any person doesn't cross those boundaries and therefore make the relationship toxic. So if you're communicating those boundaries very clearly, then at least your person will have an expectation of what they can and cannot do, for example. But with the abundance card here, it does give me the sense that with a positive mindset, you can manifest the things that you want in this relationship, which is why the Magician came up in your feelings, that you feel as though you can still make this better. You know there's a way to resuscitate this relationship. And with this abundance card showing up here, it is saying that it is possible with gratitude and blessings and a positive mindset. This relationship may be able to be rehabilitated, maybe able to have a fresh start. So let's look at the healing heart cards and see if we can get some more clues. So we have trapped heart and we have unavailable heart. So I think it seems as though one or both of you is really feeling like you're not being seen in this situation. I get the sense, it's hard to say. I get the sense that it's you who feels like you're not being seen because you have this Nine of Wands here. But then on the other hand, because your person has maintained such an optimistic mindset when it comes to the relationship, it could be both of you. It could be that both of you feel as though you're misunderstood. For better or for worse, regardless of who was right or who was wrong or who crossed a boundary or who was the impetus for screwing up this relationship, regardless of all of that, I get the sense that both of you feel misunderstood. And that may be why there's a real need here to communicate. So your person is showing up with trapped heart, which is really just saying you can step out of your own trap. You have to get yourself out of your comfort zone. And so I do get the sense that maybe this person is not very clear in their communicating. Maybe this person never really learned boundaries. Maybe this person never learned how to express emotions or to show up in a relationship. These are the kinds of things that we don't really learn. It's the kinds of things that we generally learn with experience and being in relationships. And with unavailable heart showing up here, I think for you, because it seems as though you were the one who was available, that you having to deal with someone who's unavailable, perhaps on an emotional level, that you have to face that pain, because if your experience in your love life has taught you to be emotionally available, this is now a time to learn about unemotionally available people. So that's what I think this is. This is your lesson for you as well, that this is now an experience for you that may be different from an experience you've had in the past about how to maneuver through a situation where you might be interested in starting up this relationship again with someone, but when you know that they are not able to express themselves emotionally, A, are you ready to deal with that and be with that person? And B, if you do, how can you teach that person more about the way that you expect a love relationship to be and to look? So let's look at your chakras in this situation, because I'm always very much interested in your chakras because that's what I do. So we have the solar plexus that clearly this is not the right color for the solar plexus. It should be a more vibrant color of yellow. And the word critical is coming up here. So the approach that you are each taking towards each other may have been too critical. You may have been too quick to criticize your person because they may have crossed a boundary, or you may have been quick to criticize them because they are not emotionally expressive. And then they in turn may have started criticizing you and saying that, well, you really never wanted this in the first place. You're just defensive all the time. Who knows? Whatever the situation is uniquely and individually to you and your situation, it does look as though there was some level of criticism on both sides. And that may have been what contributed to the demise of this relationship. But because there is still a lot of interest there between each other, and I think also I'm getting a message too with your solar being kind of clouded and blocked. There is definitely a block in the solar plexus here that I get this sense that you haven't been communicating, and that kind of a separation, even if you're not physically separated, you may still live together, you may still see each other, or whatever it is for your situation. But the lack of communication, that's the separation I'm talking about, that it may be causing a lot of sadness. It may be causing bitterness that's causing you to be critical towards each other, which may be contributing to you thinking you're uncertain about whether this is even the person that you want. Even if you were to make it work, you might still be harboring a lot of bitterness and saying, well, is this even really what I want, even if we can make it work? But I also get the sense that with a calm communication, this is a person who, with the Empress showing up here, is really thinking about you and missing you and wanting to talk to you, and confused and misunderstood, just as misunderstood as you feel, is what I'm really getting there. So let me get a tea leaf card to see if we can get some more clues about this. What popped out? Frying pan tried to pop out, which says trouble and accusations. And this is exactly what I was just talking about, that you're criticizing each other. You're blaming each other for everything that has gone on, rather than just trying to sit down and communicate and try to explain to each other why you each individually feel so misunderstood. Oh my goodness, we have all these flyers. What does this one say? This one says temporary situation. So again, this is something that I'm getting the sense that with the Magician and the Ace of Cups showing up, this is really telling me that this is a situation that you probably can start over. You just have to really have a fresh start and some communication. That it feels like not all hope is lost. So let me shuffle these one more time, because we had a couple of flyers come out. I want to make sure they're still good and shuffled. So we have dolphin. So this is interesting because it specifically says financial gain, usually coming from something you did in the past. Now, when I think of financial gain, when we're speaking of relationships, it makes me think of the value that you put into a relationship. And it's interesting because we have all this money showing up right here next to the financial gain. So I think it's important not to take this in the literal sense that this is literally about finances, but this is about our positivity, what we're manifesting. And in this case, particularly with the dolphin, this is telling me that this is a case of understanding the value that you put. There's value to be gained in this relationship from something you did in the past. So again, it's like all of the things that you have already invested into this relationship up to this point, this is going to show up later once you commit to starting over. If you commit to starting over in this relationship, that the things that you have already invested in the past, the good things, the positive things, the gratitude and the fact that you're missing each other perhaps, or at least your person is missing you, all of those things are then going to contribute later on to the relationship and the stability of the relationship. So in other words, what this is saying is all of the work that you've put into this relationship thus far, it's not like all of it was for nothing. There's a lot that's already built as a foundation here. It's just that you have to kind of wipe clean the way I think that you are approaching each other, the way you're communicating or not communicating. If you come at each other in a calm manner, or if you come at each other in an accusing type of manner, that's the part that really needs to be done away with in order to really kind of move this forward and to get the value and the gain out of the relationship that it looks like at least your person wants. It's still up to you whether or not you think that there's still enough value in this to move forward with. So let's get an inner child card too, because I'm curious about what your inner child has to say, or your person's inner child. So we have listen. Your inner child has something to say. And I think that this is a message for you, each of you individually, but also to you as a couple. And that's really important to listen to each other, because the minute you stop listening to each other is the minute that everything is going to fall apart, and you are going to feel misunderstood, and then your person is going to react, and then they're going to feel misunderstood, and you're not going to manifest any of the things that you want with this person. So I think this is really good advice for you to just really listen, and also listen to your inner child. Get quiet and meditate on your solar plexus and see if you can really kind of try to communicate with your inner child, and make sure that, because I always like to say, when I see the word critical come up with the solar plexus, I also want to make sure it's really important to know that the solar plexus is your seat of your confidence and your courage and your self-esteem. And when I see the word critical with solar, and this is not going to be for everyone, but just a cautionary little note here, that to please be careful about the way you are talking to yourself. Make sure that you're being kind to yourself, and kind of think about the way you speak to yourself. Because it's one thing if another person is being critical towards you, because you can address that situation, you can take that person right out of your life or out of your energy. But when you're being critical towards yourself, it's a tougher thing to recognize, and it's a tougher habit to break, but it's critical, pun intended, it's critical that you are always hyper aware of the way that you're speaking to yourself. So that was a message for someone. So I would really like for you to let me know if this was your reading and if it resonated for you. But as far as your solar plexus goes, and some work that you could do on your solar plexus, if I go into the Raise Your Vibe in 5 book, I found a page for the solar plexus, and this is a good one. This is exactly what we've been talking about here. So I picked a page that's dealing with the solar plexus chakra. You can see that. And the exercise that they're suggesting for this day is accept your feelings. Don't push them away. They are trying to tell you something. So that's true. Whenever you have an emotion come up, it's not meant for you to have a reaction to. I think emotions are a very misunderstood thing. When you have an emotion come up, you're not meant to react to it. You're not meant to do anything except listen to what your emotions are trying to tell you. Whenever you have a strong emotion about something, it's telling you that something is wrong. And then you have time to think about it and sleep on it and calm down, and then decide whether or not that emotion now is telling you that some action has to be taken. But you should never act just on an emotion by itself. The emotion is that's not what emotions are for. If you're angry at someone and you punch them in the face, you're probably going to regret that. In fact, I know you're going to regret that for a number of reasons. But anger is still a valid emotion. So if you're feeling angry about something, if you're feeling upset about something, the goal is to listen to what problem has caused that anger, then figure out how to solve that problem, and then you can take actions to solve the problem. But reacting to the emotion is never the answer. So I am feeling called to say that to someone too, because we did pull that page. So I would say that that's a really good start to trying to open up your solar plexus, is to really acknowledge the feelings that come up when you're dealing with this person in this situation. And whatever feelings come up, let that help you decide, or maybe it will point to what the real problem in the situation is. So if you're feeling irritated because they're being critical, well, let that point to what's the real problem. The real problem may be that you are not communicating clearly and they're misunderstanding you, and you need to listen to each other so that you can each gain something in this whole situation. Otherwise, to the point that I made in this first layer with the Emperor in reverse, it may be that it's just not worth enough. It doesn't have enough value to you in order to continue to start over or try again with this person. So, but that's really up to you. It's your journey. But let your emotions tell you what the problem is. And then if the problem can be solved, then I would say go ahead and take actions to do that. So again, let me know if this was resonant for you, and we will do this again sometime. Thanks, everybody. Bye.